Hello. Can you hear me now? I think we're okay now, right? Well, the stand-in techie guy, because the real techie guy's away to the hospital thing with his wife because she's due the baby any day. So that's what's going on there. So we have the stand-in techie guy. So there we go. Well, I'm hoping everybody can hear me. I don't know how. We're fine, aye. Now let me see this scrolly thing. Do you know how to work that, brother? Let's see. Well, Petit, how you doing? Ewan Eggerstrom, how are you? Jim Young, Naomi Ford, Bartley Burkar. Scroll down there. Jonathan Boudin, how are you? God bless you. Christopher Strid, how you doing? Burton Myers. Gary Hardwick, nice to see you. Yeah, Gary Hardwick, yeah, Virginia. Good grief, they're going mad there as well. It's mad. Who else we got? Lady? Oh dear, there's loads in there. I don't know where. I'll skip through this. If I miss any, my deepest apologies. Naomi Ford, Gary Hardwick, yeah, I've seen them. Scott Rash, how you doing? Scrolly thing, aye. Scorpion's in. Jonathan Boudin's in. Nick's in. Hidden Mama, no sound. I'd keep an eye on that. Could be a troll. Don't know because it's a strange name. I've not seen it before, so just watch that. Mark Anthony Smith, Geminus Fortunatus, how you doing? Sean Ahern, the boys are in from Donegal. The men from Donegal, good fellas. Jerry Smith, how you doing? Bartley Burker, very good. I think that's what we've seen. Sound, is it sound lag? Oh, I don't know if it's still working or not. No, anyway, we'll rattle away. Right, a wee bit of scripture. Remember we're doing the study in James. I hope he's enjoying it. I am, so at least somebody's happy. Fascinating epistle, isn't it? Brilliant. And so poignant for today. It's great. Anyway, I'm in James 2, chapter 14. Now this is a wee verse here that really perplexes the Protestants. So I'm doing some Protestant bashing today, my Catholic friends. Up the Catholics! So, verse 14 says this: What doth it profit, my brethren, though a man say he hath faith, and have not works? Can faith save him? Oh, I can see the Protestants' hackles all going up there. But remember later on in this it says faith without works is dead. So it reiterates it, you know. It's an interesting thing for Protestants to consider. And we'll get to that as we go through the study. So I'll leave you there to do your own study and see if you can come to your own conclusions. But there we go. And we know the Lord will add his blessing to this, the public reading of his infallible, inerrant and inspired, which means God-breathed word. Amen. Well, we've got some stuff today. We'll see how we're getting on. There's Bruce Samuelson. Howdy, brother. I've seen him there. Gary Hardwick. Good stuff. See yous all. Yes, fashionably late. Ladies are always fashionably late, yes. I've seen everybody in there. It's Brendan. Oh, yeah. Jim, really, easy Donegal. Hi. So I see it. Sorry. Sean the Heron. To Ulad, that's right, an Ulster man from the free counties rather than them boys in the occupied 26. Yes, I see that. I'm like pulling your leg, Brendan. God bless you, my friend. Good to see the Irishmen coming in. And can I tell you something, people? Ireland has been moribund with no right wing. I want you to understand this, right? America's always had a right wing. Always. In fact, I watched a programme by Louis Theroux. You know that boy? Oh, I'll tell you about him in a minute. I wish we had a picture of him, but Louis Theroux, him, does these documentaries. Big, skinny, drippier fella. And he goes and interviews like, what do you call that church everybody hates? They hate me. No. No. The other one's that God hates.
Oh, Westboro.
Westboro Baptist Church. They attacked me once, you know, in Wisconsin. I'd never met them before, and they come up and started shouting at me, whoremonger or something. I don't know what they were on about. Anyway, he goes and interviews all these people and just makes fun of people on the right, and sometimes for good reason. And last night I was watching him, he was interviewing all these American white power, white supremacists, Nazis and the ex-leader of the Ku Klux Klan. Just a bunch of utter scum-sucking clowns. They're heaping them. Never seen such a bunch of degenerate freaks in all my life. Oh, please. And, you know, that's why I get very angry when people say I'm one of them. One of them? You must be joking. You must be joking me. I would much rather have a nice Afro-Caribbean man or a Muslim man living next door to me than any of them scum-sucking weasels. Never in a million years would I put up any of them. But anyway, he goes in and does all this, and he was hammering people. And some of them were not reasonable. because they wanted to keep with their own people and breed with their own people and stay next to their own people and live with their own people. And he said, no, that's not good. I'm a multiculturalist. So while he was on the TV, I got my wife to Google him. He's been married twice, both to German Jews, like his own bloodline. So he, twice, has married within his own religion, his own ethnic identity, and his own people. But he's telling everybody else, yous are all wrong. These lights, aren't they on? They seem to be working all right. He's telling everybody else that we're all wrong if you fancy doing that. But he has steadfastly remained within his own tribe, creed, and geographical people. He's done that. Yet he's on shouting and bawling it. I don't know how I get into that, but he's a horrible, horrible man. But the thing I seen last night was pretty grim. And that's what I was talking about, the Irish. So America's always had these mad neo-Nazi skinheads, the Klan, other decent right-wing things. Britain's always had right-wing things, from even hardline right-wing from the time of the Mosley's black shirts. My own grandfather was a member of a fascist street gang to try and break up the communist general strike 1926, whenever it was. My own grandfather was a leader of one of the fascist street armies, street battalions to smash the communists. I'm very proud of him. Absolutely. And Germany, well, you know, Germany's had a few, but most countries, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, they've all had right-wing. Ireland has had nothing even remotely resembling anything right-wing, really, since about the 1930s, because it was a fairly right-wing conservative country under De Valera. It was very Catholic, it was very conservative. There was a kind of unofficial and an official censorship going on, and the church basically could veto anything it didn't like. So they didn't really need a right-wing group pushing back. So for maybe 50, 60, 70, perhaps even 80 years, Ireland has been devoid of what you would call right-wing small groups. And it's been terrible. And Ireland's been engulfed by invaders. It's been completely taken over by the LGBTQ plus agenda. All of that good stuff that you already know about that happens in our countries. But they know nothing at all to counter it. And then a few years ago, just 4 or 5 years ago, a couple of parties started, calling one's the National Party, who claim to be super hardcore right-wing nationalists, but they want to belong to the EU. Work that one out. And an Irish Freedom Party, which are a complete neocon, liberal, Zionist shill outfit. And a few YouTubers and assorted crackpots, weirdos, grifters, and imbeciles. But then a big Donegal sheep farmer arose called Niall McConnell, and he got a load of good men behind him. One of them's on here right now. And in 6 months, they've went wild. I must show you some videos of it. They're marching about to the Michael Collins thing. They're carrying the Virgin Mary down the street. They're shouting and bawling at the bishops. They're tackling priests who are allowing imams inside the Catholic Church to say their Adam prayer. I don't know what these know that. See when the Muslims, come on into your church and say some prayers, and they go, Allah, Allah. They do that prayer. What they're doing there is not interacting with you on a fair and equal basis. What they're doing there is claiming that building, that ground, for Allah. They are sanctifying that for Allah. You need to understand that. But some of these idiotic clerics, whether they're Catholic, Protestant, whatever else, these imbecile liberal clerics are allowing this and think there's nothing wrong. So the Shaw and the Hearn lads went down and confronted the priest. Take a note, brother. We must show some of the folk this, because it's some of the best stuff that's going on in the world right now, is they're confronting this stuff. And of course, the Irish are coming back to the faith because they know, yes, you can be a Catholic, but you don't have to be in subjection to the corrupt hierarchy. And I think it's a great thing, and they're good friends of yours. God bless them, and God bless all the Irish. But Ireland, like in every other country, will only be saved when the banners of Christ are raised. That's it. You can try ideology, you can try all this stuff. It won't work. Only when the blood-red banners of the holy martyrs are raised before you will Ireland or America or England or Scotland or Wales or Norway or anywhere else. That's the only time our countries will be saved, because God will intervene. But first we need to raise up the blood banners of Christ and the holy martyrs. Then it's done. So don't forget that. And if you think I'm crackpot, well, how well is it done your way? Well, you've been worshipping the pagan symbols on, the white power, the swastikas and all that old garbage. My father fought the Nazis. My father fought pagans and swastika-wearing hoodlums. I have no time for it. And anybody who thinks I'm that way inclined, we threw a guy out of here the other week. I want to tell people that there was one of your affiliate members, we didn't really know him, and he was coming out with all this and decrying Christianity and promoting National Socialism and Nietzsche. He's gone. He has been expelled and expunged from all our channels. We do not put up with that nonsense. We are soldiers of Christ in the battalions of God. We're not interested in Adolf Hitler, Benito Mussolini or anybody else. Although I'm quite partial to Franco myself. But anyway, that's a different story. And I spoke to a man yesterday. I met him in the street with our brother here who's behind the camera. And he claims to be right wing. And he was going on about all these rallies and all. And I said, you're not really right wing. It wasn't him, it was another boy. It was the real techie guy. And he said, oh yeah, you've got to have free speech and democracy. No, that's how we've ended up in this situation. The mandate for voting. Now, I know this is going to shock you, right? But I like shocking you, because if I shock you, then you learn something, okay? So bear with me here. This thing in the last 50 years that we've been brought up to accept as it's always been so, democracy, was never like this. In fact, even in the early 70s, some parts of America did not give the mandate, that means the right to vote, to everybody. And I'm not talking about black people here. I'm talking about people with certain economic things and so on and so forth. Democracy was never intended one man, one vote. Never. In parts of the UK, up until 1972, here's how it worked. In Britain, it was the same right up until after the war. Everybody got one vote. Every single person got one vote. However, if you owned a house, you got another vote, so you had two. And if you owned a business, i.e. you were a ratepayer, business ratepayer, you got another vote, so you had three. Therefore, you think that's desperately unfair. Is it really? It meant that the people who had the biggest stake in society had more say in society. If you think, Jim, I don't agree with that, that's terrible. Okay, let me put it another way. Do you think a gangbanger in Watts who sells drugs for a living, shoots people up, and in and out of jail like a yo-yo should have the exact same rights enshrined in law as to what happens to your country, USA, as you do? If you do think that, you're insane and you deserve everything that's happened to you. This is this is why we're having this, because people who are utter trash are breeding like rabbits. The good, decent, sensible people who are the backbone of society are not breeding, so they're being overtaken by these people, and you see the results right across America as we speak. So democracy was never ever intended to be mob rule. Never. Voting is a privilege. Privilege should not be given to criminals. It should not be given to what I would call wasters, people who have never done a day's work in their life and just scrounge off the state. Why should they get to vote? Why? What do they contribute to society? So if you just think about this, ladies and gentlemen, I know you're probably shocked right now and think, oh my goodness, Jim's a fascist. Imagine, British people, imagine this. American people, imagine this. All criminals were barred from voting. And all people who are young, and I'm talking about people, say, under the age of 40, who'd never worked, the vote was removed from them. No students had the vote. Imagine if you could only vote if you were over 25 and over, in steady long-term employment, or you'd served your country in the military services. And only those folk could vote. Could you imagine what our country would be like and the type of government we'd have voted in? So I want you to think of that. It's a very, very strange thing to think about, because I, like you, was brought up with the idea that the vote is for everybody. No, nowhere in the world has that been the case. And democracy comes from Greece, and it was only 3% or something of Greece could vote. Yeah, about 3% of the citizens of Greece could vote. Yeah, it's this idea that everybody votes. And even Oliver Cromwell, what's the Irish getting their back up now? After he beat the king and dissolved the corrupt parliament, some of his own soldiers rebelled and said, are we not all equal? And they all wanted to do their own thing, and he hung them. And he said, as the Bible says, yes, we're all equal spiritually, but some men are more equal than others, and hung them as rabble-rousers. So we have to be grown up first, and that's what I mean about democracy. I don't agree with democracy in the form it is today. It's nonsense, as we see. The other thing is, I'm always going on about is free speech, and I said to this man that I was talking to, who was defending free speech, do you really believe in free speech? He says, yes, 100%, I'd die for free speech. I said, so you wouldn't mind a man standing at the supermarket door preaching paedophilia? He says, no, wouldn't bother me, because then I know who he is. Really, stupid argument, but, really, do you want that? Because you either believe in free speech or you don't. Now, I can tell you this, I have never, ever spoken to a free speech advocate for more than 10 minutes, 5 minutes, before they say, well, I believe in free speech, but not for that. But not for that. But not for that. Paedophilia, jihad, umpteen other things. No. So they don't believe in free speech. Because if you don't want just one single subject to be discussed, you do not believe in free speech and you believe in some form of censorship. Like me. And I think we do need censorship. We should not be subject, we were talking earlier on there's a programme in Britain where these naked people get in these tubes and some other naked person comes in and wants to choose a sexual partner and these tubes rise up and you can see the genitalia and they're over poking at things. It's the most disgusting thing. This is on national television in Britain, one of our main channels, and it's getting beamed into Ireland and everywhere else. And that's the type of filth that you could watch or your children could watch. I don't believe that should be allowed. So how can I do away with that if we don't have serious censorship? And then I am an enemy of free speech. Yes. I don't want to see people's genitalia on my TV at 9:30 at night when I'm trying to eat my dinner. It puts me off. It's horrible. It's revolting. So we have to be very, very careful when we talk about free speech and we talk about democracy. Because I would say the forms that we understand now have been so corrupted that they are a pale shadow of what they once were intended to be, and very noble that intention was. Sadly, that nobility now has been tarnished and it's now degeneracy and it's mob rule. So let's be careful. Anyway, I want to get into some of these stories because I've been on a good rant there. I enjoyed that rant. But anyway, it just annoys me. And people just don't think things through. I wanted to show you this first. Where is that thing? Where did it go? Right. Oh, dear. Right, we've got a load of these, folks. We've cleared everything. Every single person who was waiting in weapons in the last, well, maybe the ones that ordered last month. No, but, the long-term ones, people who've been waiting 2 and 3 months, they're all gone. Every single thing. Not one single thing resides in this priority building that you've been waiting on. So there you go. You'll all be happy at that. If you only ordered a few weeks ago, yes, you'll get it in the next couple of weeks because waiting a new shipment. But there you go. These, we've actually got a lot of these in stock. They're sitting here. Is that hurting your ears now? These are solid, as I say. These are not LARPers. These are not for playing about the fields. These are real. This is real. This could probably, I don't know, it would take a bullet. I don't know at what distance. I wouldn't try it. I wouldn't shoot yourself close range in the head with it. But it's very, very, very heavy gauge steel. Solid brass, lined inside. And it is an official 13th century Templar replica helmet. And when I say replica, it's been made to the same rigorous standards and quality, high quality carbon steel. It's a proper helmet. We've got these. The brother will put a link up. Please avail yourself of these. We have got 5 or 6 in stock. So we would like to shift them. So if you want one of these, get them. And I think they're on part payments as well, aren't they? They are, right? 2 payments, I think. 2 payments for these. So please get yourself one if you want one. And we also have... Oh, dear me. Can I lift this thing? Wait a minute. An itchy nose now. I've also got about 12 of these. We've got about 12 of these. And these are stunning things. These are on part payment. I think our brother can put... Can you put a link up for one of these? I can't remember what you call it. But there you go. We've got a load of these. And they're very, very impressive indeed. They're really big. They're a big centrepiece. But we've got these in stock. So we'll get them and the helmets in stock. I'd like to get shot of them because any money that comes in will be going straight to the church fund. So that's it. I'll leave it with you. Now, let me see. Now, here's something that we warned about. Do you remember a few weeks ago, well, last week when this young fella, what's his name? Kyle Rittenhouse, the young hero lad, the young boy, we salute you, sir. God bless you, and God bless your parents. Your parents never raised a coward, that's for sure. Good lad, good lad. And people said, why don't we do something to help him, like put up a GoFundMe page? Do you remember what I said to you? It'll last about 2 hours. Well, let me read this to you. GoFundMe deletes fundraiser for accused Kenosha shooter Kyle Rittenhouse, but promotes a campaign for his victim. Victim, really? They were trying to kill that young lad. US-based crowdfunding platform GoFundMe has been accused of deleting the legal defence fundraiser for 17-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse, who's charged with killing 2 men and injuring another during a violent altercation in Wisconsin. Ritterhouse was arrested in his home state of Illinois following the incident. Oh, by the way, all the Reds are shouting about it's a federal crime because it's over state line. Are borders and state lines not social constructs that should be swept away? They're forgetting themselves there, brother. Multiple videos have been seen in multiple different perspectives. He's also been charged with first-degree murder and is also accused of fleeing Wisconsin with intent to avoid prosecution. Yeah, I think he would just... Yeah, you try to hide. You go over the state line. Really? He's having been described by the police as a fugitive from justice. What nonsense. The URL for his legal defence fundraiser, Help Us Free Kyle, set up by his father, Tom Rittenhouse, still appears on Google searches but redirects to a page not found. Notice on the GoFundMe website. Do you know that GoFundMe are a bunch of absolute trash? Don't use them for anything. They're always deleting people. Our people. Never delete the other. Our people. If you're Christian and you're white, forget GoFundMe. Don't do it. And you're conservative, don't do it. Meanwhile, GoFundMe is directing people to the campaign for Anthony Huber, one of the two men allegedly shot dead by Rittenhouse during the violent altercation, describing him as a hero who gave his life and tried to save others. And by the way, you do know a right-wing guy was shot dead the other night there in America. Shot dead. And he had a prayer hat on. Patriotic prayer. He was a Christian engaged in prayer on the streets, and he was shot dead by this mob of savages in America. And they cheered. And one woman done a speech, said, I'm glad he's dead. One of the fascists is dead. Why did you, why you're a Christian, you're a fascist? I know lots of Christians that hate fascists. I'm not one of them, by the way, but, this is the tape. These people I told you, they're coming for us and they're going to kill us and they will rejoice. Remember, the Bible warns us they will kill us all the day long and think they're doing God's work. They'll think they're doing good stuff. Bible's told us this. Well, it's happening. It's happening. If you dare fight back like this young hero, this young lion of America, you go to jail for the rest of your life. This move was not popular online, as Huber's alleged history of domestic violence has been discussed widely among the circle of mainstream narratives about the shooting incident. One of Rittenhouse's other alleged shooting victims was found to be a registered sex offender. Yeah. But they're the heroes, and a young lad who they tried to murder. Do you remember the guy had a gun out on him? So he shoots dead two people allegedly involved in domestic violence, and one is a registered, he's dead, isn't he? Was a registered sex offender. They're the heroes. That's how degenerate your country, America, has now become, ladies and gentlemen. My country, UK, is no different. It's the same. Yeah. President Trump, God bless him, he has defended young Rittenhouse. And God bless you, President Trump, for defending this young man. But you're maybe going to have to do a wee bit more than words. This boy's, they're going to put him over the coals for this. Elsewhere, a GoFundMe page for Jacob Blake, whose shooting at the hands of Kenosha Police Department sparked the current spate of riots and protests, has accrued over $1.6 million in donations, despite the fact he repeatedly admitted to having a knife in his person prior to the shooting. Look, folks, we know the left have always been trashy, scummy people who will use lies and deception. They're not even trying now. They ain't even bothering to lie or try to deceive us. They're out in the open saying, we hate you, that's it, we're coming after you. And that's from the lowest street level hoods in Antifa to the directors of the TV channels like CNN and BBC and Channel 4 and other ones in America that I can't remember the name of. They're coming out now, they're barefaced and open, coming after you and your children, and me and my children. That's the reality. It's all happening. Yeah, 300,000 raised for Kyle so far. Very good. It's just, what is going on? But remember, like the video, click subscribe, press the bell, comment below. And I was looking at the stats. We're not sharing these videos enough, people. I really need you to help me. So if you like me, and you think into me, and more importantly, you like the order, the Templar order, please share the videos. We'd really appreciate it. And just a quick, because I can actually see the chapter house from here. It's really coming on. They were in with the Kango hammers today, digging other stuff up. And the brickwork's really high up now. We're just waiting on the guy that makes these Gothic windows, giving us some kind of understandable instructions about the sizes and the dimensions. He doesn't, British folk don't work well with millimetres and centimetres, and he's all mixed up with millimetres, centimetres, inches, and everything. It's a wee bit of a problem at the moment. So we've got a wee bit of site management problems, but we're getting there. And again, everybody who's gave to you put a link up for the church thing. Anybody who's gave to the building fund at the Priory here, God bless you and thank you. If you haven't gave or you're a visitor in here today, we have this incredible building project going on to build the chapter house, the office and the actual chapel where the last mortal remains or even just remembrance plaques of our members worldwide from all over the world will be kept. And there'll be the Templar chants go on in there every single day, 365 days a year for until the Lord comes back. We're doing this huge building project and it's done. There's no corners getting cut. We're doing everything as cheap as we can, but there's no corners getting cut. We're putting Gothic windows in because all of this is for the glory of God. We're not going mad inside. Everything's very simple, very plain, very understated because we're Templars. We're not Jesuits. We don't do the lavish stuff. So if you haven't gave, I would urge you and ask you to consider giving towards that and be part of the project, even if it's $1. Because I don't want people to feel embarrassed. They say, oh, I've only got $5. I don't want to put that in people. No, look, the Bible tells us, despise not the widow's mite. If where you are at your time in life right now is you can only afford $1, put the dollar in. Because it means you're part of the project. And it doesn't matter if somebody else has put 500 in. You and that person are united in one common goal, is to get this built to the glory of God and for the great pleasure of the Priory here and functionality, because one day you may enjoy this if you come over. So if you haven't done so, do so, and don't feel embarrassed at all. Every single pound or dollar given in will be put to very good use. I promise you that. God bless you all. Well, I was going to show, what else was I going to show them? I got something else here. What was it? Don't know where it's went. Aye, just a wee bit. Oh, I know what it was. There's a wee bit coming out of Germany. We spoke about it yesterday, folks. Do you remember the big demos in Germany? And everybody was saying there was hardly anybody there. Tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands are there. But the German government, wait till you hear this. The German government now has come out. Now this, in Germany, it was lefties, anarchists, gay people, right-wing people, left-wing people, people of no particular political persuasions, just fed up with the whole lockdown nonsense. They were all out. Nobody was controlling that demo. It was just everybody, German citizens, regardless of your political leanings. But the German government spun it like this. The German government condemns unacceptable attempt by the far right to storm the Reichstag. There's such plays on history here, it's ridiculous. What would he do is tomorrow night the Jews to go and burn it? It will be historically accurate. But the German government slammed the unacceptable behaviour of protesters during a mass rally against coronavirus restrictions in which hundreds were arrested and some attempted to storm the Reichstag Parliament building. There's not much here left. I've been there. There's a big glass dome and everything because it's been done in during the war. But the Reichstag is a symbolic centre of our democracy, Interior Minister Horst Seehofer told the Sunday edition of the Bild newspaper. It's unacceptable to see extremists and troublemakers use it for their own ends. Yeah, they're normally inside it, legislating. That's where the real hooligans, the real trash, the real low-life street urchins, that's where they are. They're inside the Reichstag. They're inside the British Parliament. And they're inside the House of Representatives. That's where the real low-life reside. Let me tell you. Police said 38,000 people turned up, hundreds of thousands, and they gathered to protest against the restrictions and wearing masks. But several hundred protesters broke through the barrier and a police cordon and climbed the steps leading to the entrance of the Reichstag. They were narrowly prevented from entering the building by police who used pepper spray and arrested several people. Plurality, then they have the cheek to say this, plurality of opinions is a characteristic of the good functioning of society. And you will obey this. We will take measures that you will obey. You will not be fascist. We will kill you. Aye, okay. It's unbelievable. But freedom of assembly reaches its limits when public rules are trampled on. You know, if it wasn't so serious, it would be hilarious. You know, many years ago, I'll just tell you this wee quick story before I go. Many years ago, when the Russians left the Eastern Europe, I went to Hungary. It was only a few years after the Russians had left. And they had a zoo, the most incredible zoo. There's just animals wandering about everywhere. No safety net, nothing, just madness. And there's a fun fair there, and I took my kids because I thought this zoo's too dangerous. We went to the fun fair, which was through a fence. Went to the fun fair because the zoo was way too dangerous. I seen a hippopotamus walking down the thing. I thought, oh, I'm out of here. But we're in the fun fair, and there was this like kind of martial music, Russian kind of military music for the 30s playing, and then this voice was shouting, what on earth is that guy shouting about? And our local translated, you will enjoy yourself. You are having fun. Yes, that's what it was pumping through this. And that's the way those poor people lived under communism. You will obey. If we tell you to have fun, you will have fun. If we tell you to cry, you will cry. You will obey. That's the way Eastern Europe lived under the communists. And now we're getting a taste of it here. So remember, we wrongly assumed that when the Berlin Wall collapsed, that the Soviet era was over. No, my friend. When that wall collapsed, 1989, all of the poison of communism flooded out. That wall, that Iron Curtain was there to keep that poison from infecting us. Not the other way about. And when the Iron Curtain dropped, all the red filth and communist nonsense poured over Europe and America. And now, 30 years on, my friend, we have the real, true results. Communist was not defeated when the Iron Curtain fell. No, that was communism breaking free to infect us with the evil disease, the red scourge of communism. And now we're infected. Every one of our countries are infected. Every one of our countries is in a terminal state of communism because it escaped when the wall came down in 89. And now we're going to have to deal with it. God bless us and God help us. And I mean that, God help us. Because I travel extensively in Eastern Europe, and I've seen what communism done to the normal people. It turned them into a cowed, terrified, timid people. The Hungarians rose up, they were slaughtered like dogs. The Poles rose up, they were slaughtered like dogs. I've seen it. There's no mercy with these people. You go to Eastern Europe, you won't believe it. They took tens of thousands of school teachers and professors and different people who were the leaders of society, the Katyn massacres in Poland, and massacred them. They just killed everybody who disagreed with them. Or everybody who had the potential to disagree with them. You didn't have to disagree with them. Just if they thought you had the potential to disagree, you were killed, slaughtered. Dear friends, that's coming to us, and it's coming to us now. We're at the early days of it, but it's going to get worse and worse. There's no respite for this. This is not like the 1968 race riots. This is not like the 1980 what riots. This is permanent, and this will grow and get worse and worse. And now in Britain today, I hear there's a new party being launched, Black Lives Matter Party, and only black people are allowed to be rulers in it. Well, I remember the BNP being sued for the very same thing. But for the Electoral Commission in Britain, they've allowed this, and they say there's no problem with it. So this is it. We're on our own, and nobody's going to help us. Yeah. Aye. Oh, Duffy's blue shirts in Ireland. That was way back in the 30s. The 30s, my friend, were 80, 90 years ago. That's what I said. Ireland's had no right-wingers for 80 or 90 years. Duffy. Duffy's blue shirts. Yep, that's the last time. But now, new men are arising and raising the flag in Ireland. And God bless them. Well, God bless each and every one of us. But we have to be careful. Communism is running rampage through our countries, and we need to be on guard against it. And the only antidote to communism is Christ Jesus. This book, the Holy Word of God, and brave men and women prepared to martyr themselves in the defence of the one true faith and to smash communism and drive it into the sea. And that's the only time our countries will be free again. Well, look, folks, that's all from me. I get very passionate when I talk about these communists. I can't stand them. We have to deal with them. But until then, and hopefully tomorrow I might have a guest on. We'll see how we go on. Oh, I remember, like the video, click subscribe, press the bell, comment below. Let's pray that the good Lord preserves me another day so I can come back and speak to you, because I do like speaking to you, and I do appreciate everybody who tunes in. God bless each and every one of you. And remember, until we meet again, stick close to God. You won't go far wrong. Do us vault.